Okay, now we just install our software. We want to start using it. So the first thing we're going to do is log in into our software. So we'll double click it. It will ask us for a user and our password. Admin. Okay, so we do that first. So we're gonna get into the software, and we have a couple of windows we gotta go over with, right? It's a couple of different setups, all of them pretty important, but not all necessary for all kinds of events. So let's begin by going to General and Information. General Information. So once we click it, we'll get a couple of things we need for our tournament. The first thing we got to fill out is our divisions, right? So we're going to go to the divisions area, and it gives you a list of certain divisions and certain names, but you can change this at any time. It's not a standard or specific thing. In your tournament, you can have different ways of setting up your divisions. For example, we give you some examples here, like for example, mixed divisions could be a division where you have mixed type of competitors competing in there. Open division, it could be a division where it's a open event where you got a lot of competitors competing in different ages or whatever. It could be an open. Uh, you also could have like the regular thing, like beginners having under 1 year, novice. You could have intermediate, advanced, or you could just have simply uh, in a different language, like Spanish, for example, principiantes, intermedios, y avanzados. So you could have different type of languages and different type of definitions of your divisions, and it's pretty simple. All we're gonna do is, if we wanted to add our own, we could just click here, delete, and just delete them all and start from scratch, or we could just leave the ones we want. I'm not gonna delete these because we're gonna be using them. So, but let's just add one so you can see one being added. Pretty simple. We'll click plus, insert right here, and it'll bring you with this screen where you could just see that it gives you a number, which is just gonna be the sequence number that is gonna give to that specific division, so that when you're doing the search for to look for it, is the higher you make the number, the lower in the bottom it will put that division. If you put a lower number in the, it will bring you that division all the way to the top. So in this case, let's call this division beginners, and we got it there. It's pretty done. We click OK. That's what I wanted, and it will just add you right there your beginners division, and that's pretty cool. And you could add any other divisions you want. If you wanted to change them, you don't want to delete them, you want to pick one, maybe this one, you want to change it, you just go to change, and you could just go and edit whatever you want to change on it. And like if you want to delete it, you could just go here and delete the division. And that's all do you need to know about how to create a division. Then we could just click close, and that information will already be saved. The other thing we have to create are categories. So in this case, we go to categories, and we bring this little screen up, and it also brings you some categories already done. So it all depends on how you want to get this done in your event. For instance, you can have categories which are mixed divisions, mixed category divisions, where you have from age 1 to 5, age 7 to 9 or 8, or you can have, like for example, in this case, you have kids that are going to be competing with 11, 12, 13, and 14 years old. If you wanted to do that, you can do that. You could define each one of these divisions as different categories for each competitor. So this is the way we're gonna work on it. The division is gonna be if it is a novice, an advanced, or an intermediate. And the category is going to be how old are they gonna be. So you can have, like, for example, a beginner, which is would be in the division area, and then you can have a category of that competitor from 4 to 6 years old, and then it'll be male or female. So you can have 4 years old to 6 years old competing, male like in this case, or female like this case. Okay, and you can also add some information to define what is it you're talking about when you say 4 to 6 years old. And why do we do this? Because if we go a little bit down, you'll see that we provide you with a couple of other ways that the industry does the sport categories. For example, in this system, they call them K1s or K14, K13. And for people that might not know what K13 means, he would read here and know, oh, a K14 means 10 years old, boy, beginners, and he's going to be doing kata. So you can, just with categories, you can end up doing the whole three things at once. Like the division, the category, which was the age, and then the modality, which is we also have, which is in this case would be kata. You can have all three in just one. And these are just preference you could use when you're creating your categories. And this is pretty extensive because the industry has like a bunch. You see, you can have them all right there. And that way you can have them all, like for example, S20s, like then they have kilos also, like by weight. See, so you could get all this done for your categories for your competitors. So let's check how we will do one of these categories. Pretty simple. We'll click plus or insert, and we get this little screen. On this screen, it asks us what is going to be the name of the category you want to create, and then it asks you what is going to be the category information. So that will be this information, and the category name will be this information right here. Okay, and then this number will be the control number, right, that we just said, that you can also change to make a category that you use a lot go to the beginning of the list or to the bottom of the list by just increasing this number or decreasing this number. Okay, so I don't want to change none of these because all of these are real live world created, and I don't want to create something that might ruin this list. But you can create just by clicking OK, and it would add you one into this list. If you wanted to delete one, you just will click delete, and it will also delete it. And if you wanted to change one, you would just click change. Like in this case, you click change, and it will just bring it up, and you could just edit whatever you want to change from there. You can see that the number 1 that we created was by. You see? And you're going to understand why we created the first one as a by, because when we get to the point that we're going to start creating keys for competition, you're going to also want to have a category for a by competitor. So usually we create a by for the first division, a by for the first category, and a by for the first modality, just for the purpose that when we create a competitor that's going to compete against a by, we can also place that as a by. By meaning that that competitor is not going to compete with a person that just, it does not have a competitor to compete against on this certain competition. We'll see some of them and some applications in the future when we're there. So we could close, and that's the categories area, nothing more there. Then we got the modality. You see, I said you got divisions, you got categories, and then you got modalities. And modalities will be like we just saw there, like the kata. You see, like for example, if this competitor is going to compete in kata with 3 judges, if it's going to compete in kata with 5 judges, if it's going to compete in kata with 7 judges, that will be like an elite event. And then it has kata traditional or traditional kata, which is we also have on this system. It also has a area for competition of traditional kata. It could be weapons also. We have weapons. So you can have a lot of different modalities that the competitor is going to be competing. Like for instance, he could be competing in individual kumite with 8 competitors. It could be competing with kumite, but team kumite with 3 teams on the whole roster. But you can also have kumite for teams, but with 4 teams in the roster. We only go all the way up to 4 teams per roster. So you could go 3 or 4. And if you wanted to do more, you would have to use like 2 events of 4 to create 8. And then if you needed 9, you would create 3 events of 3. And you'll see in the future when we get to that area how we do that. And then you got here kata in teams, and all these are written, so there are different modalities that you could just do yourself. You could just add whatever modality you use. Like if you break wood and you want to create a modality for breaking wood, if you want to create a modality for weapons, whatever it is that you want to create, you just could just create them. Like click and insert, and it brings you again this little screen right here, and you just got to write the name of that modality that you'd use in your event. Click OK, and it would add it in here to this list. I don't want to add nothing new because I don't want to ruin this one, but you just would have to do that and it will work fine, and you'll have an additional one. Same thing with the numbers. If you change the numbers, it will bring into the top whatever it is that you want to keep higher in the hierarchy of the different listed modalities that you have. So we go here, we could close. We also have the tatamis. As you know, when we do a tournament or we do an event, we have sometimes, right, just one tatami. So it's no big deal. You just have one tatami, you just create one. But if you have a huge event where you have 8, 9, 10, 12, 15 tatamis, you need to put the information of the tatami where the competitors are going to be competing, so you can keep control of in which tatami are the competitors competing at the moment. So in this case, you could use that for that, or like in this case, we did it for something different, but you can also change all this. Like for example, we had a tatami that was a 100-piece tatami. 100 piece of mats in the floor. That's like the full size tatami. Like a 68 would be like the small version of a full size tatami. And you might want to separate it like that, or you want to say like wood because this is for kobudo. So now you know that every time you send somebody to the tatami 4, it's going to be in a non-rubber floor. So you can use this for several things, not only by using it to say this is going to be certain tatami. You can also use it as a way to define how that tatami is, right? Maybe this is the tatami that is in the deck. Maybe this is the tatami that is in the gym. I don't know. You could just set all this down, so when you do your event, you'll see that you'll have a place where you have to put this information. And another thing is, when you want to insert them, it's the same process. You just click insert. It'll bring you this screen up, right here. And you would just add it. You would add the tatami, which is just this first, right? And then the description of the tatami is what would go here. And that will be very important because you will want to know not just that that's the tatami 5. You would just also will want to know what is in that tatami. How is that tatami? If that's something important, because you know, maybe that's the tatami with the elite judges, maybe that's the tatami elite, maybe that's the tatami, stuff like that. You could just define it, and then when the person sees the tatami number, he knows, oh look, I can send these competitors to this tatami, I cannot send them to this tatami because this tatami is for this. Maybe it's a video review in that tatami and the tatami 3, so I want to send all the competitors that are going to be under video review on the tatami 3, so I want to define it so that way we don't get the competitors to the wrong set of judges or tatami facilities that they need to compete. Like if you're breaking wood, you don't want to be in the tatami that has to do with only competition of fighting. So things like that. So we click cancel. Same thing, if we need to change it, we click change. If we just need to delete it, we click delete. So in this case, we'll click close, and that will just take us out of that area. We go back to general, and then we get the kata types. What are the kata types? Okay, when we're creating the events of kata, we're gonna be able to have our competitors also have defined the kata that they are gonna be doing. So we need to organize all the katas in the system in different groups, because as you know, we have WKF katas, but we also have katas open, right? And we also have generic katas. We got a lot of senseis that create their own katas. They're valid in their tournaments, but they're not valid in a WKF event, probably, right? So in this case, we create different groups so that we could group them in there. So when we're looking for them, we know, oh, look, this is a WKF kata and this is not a WKF kata. So that way we could separate and differentiate the different katas. So let's check this out. Same thing, we will click insert, right? And we will just add the description of what type of katas are we gonna try to list, and we just put them here. Maybe we put dojo katas or my sensei katas, and we just put that there, and it will just appear here, and you will have a list. Same thing, we have 3 right now. You can have as much as you need, and you can also use this if you're gonna have katas for kobudo, for weapons. Same thing, you could probably have here weapons, kobudo, so that you could separate the kobudo katas from what is a kata of weapons, or what is a kata of traditional kata, or what is a kata of a WKF kata. So you could have a bunch in this list, and you could just set them up as you please. So, but this screen goes in junction with this other screen, the one that says kata name. Again, in kata name, you get now all the katas. You see that you just inserted onto the system, and you also get the ID number for each kata, because in WKF, kata has numbers, and usually the judges already know the numbers of each kata, so you get the numbers in this side to match the kata on this side, so that we can match the WKF definition of the numbers of the katas. And as you see here in the definition of the type, you get the type that we created before. So this WKF I didn't type in. This WKF I picked from the list that we created first. So here we get a bunch of katas. We got almost all the katas that are available in the WKF system, and you can still add more katas in here. I'm just gonna click add so you can see the process of adding them. Same thing, you would just go here, right? And you would just type here the name of the kata, and you would just click inside here. Once you click, it brings this other screen up, which is lets you pick one of the type of katas you created before. So if it's a WKF, you pick it, and it automatically makes the definition of the kata appear in this box. Okay, and again, all I did for doing that was I clicked inside the box. Once you click, it automatically brings the list up so that you could pick one that matches the one you want to do. Okay. So that will be the katas. See, and there we go all the way up here. So let's go. That was all to do with katas. We're gonna go here now, and we're gonna see that we have 3 other squares, but these we will cover in a future video. So let's review what we got done today. We got the divisions. First we went to general information, right? We created the divisions, we created the categories, and we created the modalities that we're going to be using our events. We also said that when we create categories, we could just zoom up all the information of a division in a category and the description of a category, making the event run with just one whole definition. It's a thing of preference. I like it, and a lot of people likes to have the division separated from the categories and the categories separated from the modalities. And some people and some events like to have it all in just one. Usually when they do that, they call the categories a division because it actually has everything in there. So that's a matter of preference, but you get to fill all this up. The other thing we did was we made the tatami. We defined the tatamis that we're going to be having in our event, so that it comes when they ask us where we're going to want to send that division or that competition to compete, those competitors, we know to what tatami we're sending them. We also discussed the area of the katas and katas types. We just missed this one, competitor colors. Let's just get this one because we missed it. When we go to competitor colors, what you're going to define here are the colors that you're going to be putting into each competitors. Some tournaments use what is called aka and ao, which is our red and blue. Maybe you don't want to use aka and ao. You don't want to use these words. You want to use red and blue. So you get red and blue. Or some events use white, red and white. So you could use red and white. Or some events use the shiro, which is this white in Japanese. So they use shiro and aka. So you can create more. You just same thing. Click insert. You get your screen and you just add in there the other colors you want to have. And these colors you will be using when we are defining the competitions, so that we could assign a color to a competitor. So that's what this screen was all about. And with that said, we cover all this area. So I hope you like it. If you have any questions or any doubts, remember, send us an email and we'll quickly respond you and help you out to figure it out. Hope you like it, and join us in the next video.